Welcome to episode 269.
You're listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast, where you'll learn the underground, closely guarded secrets that will revolutionize your real estate business. This podcast is all about helping you exit the real estate newbie zone and enter financial freedom, building up your real estate throne. This is Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast. And now your host, real estate investor, entrepreneur, world traveler, and nationwide mentor, Chris Bruce.
All right, how you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Escaping REI Newbie Zone. I want to say, man, today, I got a killer interview set up for you today that you're going to tune into. It's actually from one of my friends, Adam Nasir, that I've known for quite some time. We actually got into, I think we met around 2012. We got into real estate, though, the same year, 2009. He's here locally in Tampa. He has been absolutely crushing it in real estate. He has bought and sold, oh man, I can't even name the number of how many houses, probably close to 1,000, damn near, of how many houses he's flipped. And not just in Tampa and the market. He's done these same flips in other markets, Alabama, Arkansas, like these other different areas outside of Tampa. And he has been absolutely, just absolutely killing. And so what I wanted to do was bring him on to get a podcast to talk about a few different things, from scaling his business to doing, over 100 something plus rehabs in, all at the same time in a year, virtually. We're supposed to first talk about that. Talk about wholesaling as well too, because of course he's done that as well. But also to talk about this game-changing software that he has built and developed, really for his own business, and then he opened it up to people like myself and you guys to be able to really dominate your market when it comes to lead generation. All right, one of the things that has been the struggle for a lot of people is trying to compete with other investors that are doing some of the same marketing strategies. When everybody's doing the same thing, it becomes competitive. It's challenging. It's hard to get through the barrier to entry, of getting in conversation, just with a seller to see if they're interested, and getting a cash offer. But this game-changing software is going to completely blow everything out. I have been using it. We've gotten a deal from it, and we've only used it for a couple weeks. So it works like gangbusters. So we're gonna talk about that software too, and we're gonna talk about his story and his journey on his real estate grind. All right, so let's go ahead, wait no further, and let's get into the interview with my guy Adam. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Escaping REI Newbie Zone. I'm your host, Chris Bruce, and like I said on the intro, guys, we have a very special guest that's going to be on the call. So I'm going to wait no further to introduce my guy, Adam. What's going on, Adam?
Chris, what's up? It's a pleasure to be here.
Man, I'm so glad to finally get you on the podcast. And there might be a little echo because we're in one of these offices. He has a great office downtown in Tampa, but we're one of these office meeting rooms, I guess you can say. So it might be a little echo, guys, but we'll clear it up as much as we can on the on the edits. But anyways, Adam, man, it's been, how long have we known each other?
2012?
Yeah, like 2012. Okay, and we pretty much dang near started, man, around the same time. But for those people that don't really know much about you, and they're gonna get to know you, tell us about how you got introduced to real estate and what you were doing before you got introduced in real estate.
Sure. So I kind of start the story off. Before I started in real estate, I was always just a hungry kid. I came here from Morocco as just a first generation, and I always had the dream of doing well within my life, making, being successful, and paying my family back for the opportunity that I had to come here and really make something for myself and future generations and take care of my family. So that was always the premise. I started out with selling everything. I sold everything under the book, and then I leveled up. I started selling cars. And then I looked at the next thing I could sell houses. I saw a Dean Graziosi tape way back in the day about my college days. I read the book. He got me hooked. And I took it from there. I was in college. I went to University of Tampa here.
Okay.
And I met a local investor who was doing bandit signs wholesaling, and then I started interning and working from them while I was in college.
Got you. All right. So from Morocco, did you come straight to Tampa or?
I grew up in the States. I moved here when I was a kid. So I was about 8 years old when I moved here.
Okay. 8 years old. Okay. So was your first language? Was it English?
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I learned English later.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So definitely natural salesperson, hustler. You went from cars and got into houses. So when you were working for them, like, was it an intern, you said?
Yeah. Intern, and then like disposition rep. I'd be like putting out bandit signs. And
Gotcha.
Going out Friday night, Friday, Saturday before the code enforcement guys would pick them up.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I remember that grind, man. Trying to go out there at 5 o'clock on Friday.
It would be Friday at 10. Put out the bandit signs and then go out and party because I was 20 years old.
Okay, so put out the bandit signs. About then, what would you say that you would make? Like, do you have kind of like a guesstimate of what you would make? Like, say, for instance, somebody called you a bandit sign, or did they have it tracking towards you to know which, like, that you were the one that put that bandit sign, or you were just getting the experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of both. It was super entry level, and the company that I started for was, a mid-sized wholesale company here. And they paid me a commission off of every sale that came in. I had a Google Voice number, so the buyer would call me, and if I closed it, I got a percentage.
Okay, cool. So you was learning the business, and so then eventually, I of course, what happened naturally for somebody that's a hustler and a salesman, you found out, okay, I can go out and start this on my own. So what did that look like? What was that transition or that aha moment of, you know what, let me start my own investment, or let me go venture off from this company and go another route? Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm loyal to a fault sometimes, and that's probably one of my strengths and could be one of my weaknesses. But it took me a long time of not making money and seeing that it wasn't producing. Then I was like, all right, it's been a year and a half. 2 years now. Okay, I should probably start doing this on my own.
Gotcha.
So it took a long time of not really making money for a company that I decided, okay, now it's time to transition over.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that you learned a lot just being around, successful investors as wholesaling the operation. I'm pretty sure you picked up on a lot of things of how they run the business, how they lead other employees and stuff like that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Learning from somebody else, I'd say, is probably one of the biggest skill sets one of the biggest shortcuts you can have in your career.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so then the transition, what did that look like for you? It's like, okay, I'm not making any money, but I need to start making money. So what was the next step that you took?
Yeah. So there's really two sides. There's really two common sides in real estate. There's wholesaling, and then there's a lot of buyers that are buying properties at auction, REOs, and just cash buyers.
Yep.
So I gravitated towards that. I had investors that I was buying and flipping properties with, and I was really hitting the auctions. Okay. So what I started to do was I would hit the foreclosure auctions in Hillsborough, Pinellas County, which is the Tampa Bay area here, and we'd buy them for $100,000. I'd find somebody with $100K or $200K, buy it and sell it. Hey, I'll offer to split the profits. I do all the legwork. You put up the cash.
Nice.
And we'd split it up that way.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I remember, man. Back in the auction days, this was like 2000. I would say 9-ish, 9, 10-ish. Man, there was so many freaking properties, man. After the crash. So were you in real estate pre-crash?
No, post-crash.
Post-crash, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
post-crash.
so you got in post-crash. And that's when I actually got into wholesaling too, post-crash. Okay, and I know a lot of people had got out the market, right? There was a lot of people were scared, and it was like, real estate, this and that, but the smart people were buying.
Yeah, it was just tough getting cash back then because for us, guys like us, like getting the relationship with somebody that had money was really hard, especially when you were brand new. That was my biggest challenge. I mean, now I can get money pretty easily, but getting money then was like it was really hard.
Absolutely. I mean, because listen, the market. Some of you guys listening right now, you're new. You probably weren't in the real estate crash. I'm pretty sure everybody felt the wrath of the recession, regardless of what industry you're in. But some of you didn't understand how hard it was, how challenging it was back then. Like, it was hard to even find buyers at sometimes for me. When I was first getting into the REOs, it was like, man, there was not plentiful buyers as it is now. You know, it was like a different type of market. It was a bear market, you know. So anyways, you found your way through buying from auctions. What were some of the challenges that you went through besides like the money? Yeah. Finding money, was there any other challenges that you went through?
Yeah, you know, I'd say that I probably had the worst. I mean, as bad of luck as you can get, but I don't blame it on other people. I blame outside factors on myself. Okay. So I allowed certain things to happen. I chose certain partners that didn't have a great vested interest in me. I chose certain contractors and I didn't manage them the right way, and I messed up because they would take advantage. But it was essentially my fault, and I learned at a certain point in my career is like once I take ownership of that, then it's no longer luck. It's just strategy. You know, lenders. I mean, there's so many moving parts to a functioning real estate business that, especially early on, not having tight processes, tight vendors, tight partners, like all these things in a row, it costs you tremendously. So as a progression, it took a little bit of time to get all those moving parts and the right pieces and the right cogs all the way across the system to have efficiency.
Gotcha. But I will say this, and I'm pretty sure, Adam, you will agree, you learn more from your mistakes than you do your success.
100%.
Like all of those mistakes, 100%. He was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make sure I don't do this again.
Yeah.
You know, we lost money on this. Let's make sure we don't lose money on that again. Like,
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Like it's crazy because so many people I see that are new, you know, they're so afraid to get started because they're afraid to make a mistake.
The mistake is everything because the mistake is what defines you in the later stages of your career. Right. So it's like I can screw up and work hard and do a couple deals, and all I made was 30 or 40 grand in the year because I netted from my positives and negatives. But what you really netted is the experience, which is invaluable.
Exactly. So, Adam, did you ever have like any mentors or anything starting off?
I wish. It would have saved me a hell of a lot of money, bro. It would have saved me a hell of a lot of money. I was always cheap. I was right. Like, no, I'm not going to spend the $3 grand or $5 grand. Right. I'm not. But it cost me 50 times that. I mean, I just did mistakes and things. If I knew what I know now 5 years ago, it would be an astronomical difference.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I mean, I invested in a training course, but the thing was like, it's nothing like getting that advantage that you have, you know, beating the learning curve because of the fact that you have somebody that's already done it and they're where you're at, you know, where you're trying to be at. They've already accomplished it. And it's like, I tell a lot of people too, once again, if you can make the investment, you know, figure out the way. I've had people I had somebody one time pawn their wife's wedding ring, just to get into the mentoring program.
Damn, did the wife approve?
She approved it.
That's a winner, man.
He got it back.
That's a keeper.
Yeah, that's a keeper. I was like, any woman that would let you pawn that's like,
yeah, that doesn't happen, bro.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I don't even think they make women like that anymore. They're rare. Yeah, so, I mean, I've had people that have like sold like their shoes, like it's whatever it takes, man. You know.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you're doing too. You know, and to the guys listening at any stage, don't take it. You know, like sometimes they're not the only way to get to where you want to get to is through failure. There are other ways, and yes, there's always a cost to anything that's of value, but it saves you 10x, 20x more just by making the upfront investment to somebody that can help you as opposed to having to cost yourself through the process.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. Okay, so you got into managing rehabs and things like that. When did you kind of start like focusing like on wholesaling? Like when did you, or were you as a mixture of that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of through anybody's journey. I mean, anybody that's successful, anybody that's intermediate, and especially the advanced guys, you have like a period of a couple of years where you're finding your way. You know, as an entrepreneur, you kind of like, you swim wherever the stream is most, easiest path, least path of resistance, that's highest profit. at least working at it. That's kind of how I look at my venture. But I tried everything. I tried wholesaling, doing direct mail.
Okay.
I did auctions, bank-owned properties. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
I've tried
Gotcha.
different things.
Okay. All right. And were you an agent at some point too?
Yeah, I mean, I had my license.
Gotcha.
Just like make offers,
Yeah.
list my own properties because I was cheap.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I mean, obviously, and people that's listening, everybody's like, "What do you?" Which is crazy. People still don't know. Which I get it. People think that you can't do real estate without having a license. But it's like, listen, you make so much more money on the investment side than you will ever do on the agent, unless you're like, $1 million listing agent.
Yeah. There's a lot of agents that you can use. I mean, it's such I don't want to deviate too much, but the real estate investors, but also really real estate agents, there's so much saturation. There's so many agents that are waiting for you to pick up the phone and call them. So they'll work with you.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's. All right, so you got this company, you're rehabbing, you're wholesaling, you're doing all these different things. What at the height of, let's say, your company, what was kind of the operation? Like, how many rehabs, how many wholesales? Like, what did the business look like?
Yeah. So a couple of years, kind of give you a little story, but I do things extremely different than 99% of the wholesalers and investors out there.
Okay.
So my model is really based on auctions. What we found is the auctions in our counties and our areas dried up. It was much harder. There was a lot more funds that were buying them as rentals, and they were outbidding us and paying more than we could. So there was really no margin to make money.
Right.
So the only viable option, I was like, okay, well, let me start going out and venturing in different markets. So I'd start buying houses in Orlando. I'd go to Jacksonville, I'd buy a house, and I'd be like, all right, cool. I bought and I sold it, made 10, 20 grand, cool. And then I had a partner, I had somebody that was funding me on the deals, and we started and using a little bit of both private money and some of mine at the time, and buying houses in different states. I'd go in Alabama, I'd go in Arkansas. Completely crazy. Nobody was doing this. And I'd just go to online auctions. I'd do the comps, I'd get the realtors, I'd put all the pieces together. I'd buy it for 50, I'd sell it for 70, I'd make a couple bucks, make 10, 15 grand. And I did that 8, 10 times, and I was like, okay, I think I'm on to something. And I took that model, and I partnered with an investor, and we bought a ton. We bought about 170 houses in about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. So everything was done virtually. You didn't see these houses or anything like that. Oh, that's nice, man. I love, man. And that's the power of the internet.
Easier than it sounds.
It's definitely
easier
work.
than it sounds.
Yeah, it's work to be done, But still,
I can laugh now. Believe me, the first 2 years were freaking. Yeah, it's not easy doing that.
Yeah, especially at that scale.
That scale, yeah.
Yeah, doing 1 or 2 houses, virtually is not that challenging. But yeah, at scale at that level, I can imagine. Were you rehabbing any of those houses too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So at the height of it, I mean, this is the most amount that I had done at one given time. And I'll get into the systems and the processes because that's everything that I stand for and everything that I've realized and I've grown to at this stage. But I remember we had 26 different rehabs going on at one time, and I looked at it was in 20 different states. So imagine 20 different contractors. Wow. You have different vendors you're buying, flooring from, and all types of different carpet vendors, all types of different contractors, roofers, plumbers. It was freaking insanity. So about 26 rehabs going on at one time, not a year.
Oh, nah, that seems stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the systems. So the key, guys, to building any type of business is definitely you have to have some systems and processes in place. So what were some of those systems that you kind of built out, or could you give anybody some advice on if someone wants to scale out? What systems and things should they put in place? What does that look like?
Sure. So going back to what I said earlier about taking a responsibility, as business owners, it's our responsibility to understand all of the moving parts of our business.
Yep.
So I always tell myself, I'm an entrepreneur first, I'm a real estate investor second. So it's my job to engineer all of the moving parts and break them down to separate moving parts. So let's say the rehab process, understanding every micro step that's involved in it and creating a process for it.
Gotcha.
And if something goes wrong, if something gets screwed up in the process, I take responsibility. It's my fault.
Okay.
The contractor ripped me off and took my money. It's because I didn't have the right process in place for it. So what I had to do, and it forced me to do it in this scale, was building very efficient systems so that, reducing your, like I say, churn rate, but reducing your loss rate, because naturally you're always going to lose on a rehab. There's always a contractor that's going to steal from you. Mm-hmm. It's inevitable. It's human nature. There's always somebody's going to steal. There's always something that's going to take too long. But how do I get that number down from 20% to 5% or 4%? And that's almost like the Six Sigma approach. That's how an efficient business runs it, is by reducing that number to a acceptable amount where it doesn't affect the business as much.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of get into that. I want to dive into a little bit. So knowing that you're going to take some losses and things like that, and you're doing it virtually, you're not there to smack a contractor and be like, "Hey man, what's going on? Why the drywall business?" So how did you have someone to what was that process of managing them to, make sure they're not, taking some of the, because I hear horror stories all the time. They take some of the stuff, the materials, they move it to another project and all that other stuff. How did you limit that? Because somebody listening right now that's not even doing virtually, they could probably get from doing it in their own backyard.
Yeah, I'll share some of the quick tips, and I put together some really strong bullet points, and guys, I would highly recommend this, whether you're doing a local rehab or a nationwide rehab or anything. There's just some kind of some pillars that I try to use that help lower my chances of having that happen. So I guess the big thing is I always pay for material. I never let the contractor pay for it. Even if it's $20 out of it or $50 out of principal, I always pay it. Because what they can do, contractors are smart, they can refund their money back. They can go to Home Depot, they paid for it, and refund it back on their credit card.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're smart. They know the game. They've been doing it, and they know how to play you. And especially if they know you're nationwide or you're out of state, they'll try to,
Hold on. Okay, so let me stop you on that. Okay, so you're saying that they'll go and they buy the products with their money?
Yeah. So imagine I'm a contractor. Okay. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go buy this $300 plumbing fixture or faucet or whatever.
Right.
Not faucet, but a ceiling fan or whatever it is. And then as soon as you're not looking, they go return it and they go buy a cheaper one or something like that.
I see.
They're smart. Yeah, they're smart. That's one way. There's so many things. That's one of them. That's one of my golden rules is I never let my contractors pay for material. I have draws set up, and one of the most important things is I can. At this point, that's this stage of the rehab, I can manage a rehab probably about 99% as effectively as if I was there. Okay. And it counts on great accountability. Gotcha. So I hire an independent scout. So I actually hire somebody that works for me, not them, and they go out there every single week and they take photos. So for $50, I literally have somebody that takes photos, and now the contractor feels like, okay, these guys know what the hell they're doing. So I got less room to mess around. Yeah. So and then when the guy says, okay, I'm done painting, I need a payment, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna check my Dropbox photos. My scout sends it to my assistant, who uploads it to Dropbox for me exactly the way that I want to see them. Boom, run through. Okay, it looks good. All right, here you go.
Gotcha.
And that's just one of them that we.
I like that. No, that's a huge gem right there, man. I didn't even think about that, man. That's real good because you have the visual, so it's like you're there.
Yeah. And the scout, we make sure to tell our scouts to take a certain amount of photos, certain kind of photo. You know what I mean? Hey, it's minimum 50 photos. They have to have 3 in this room, 3 in this room, 3 in this room, or you don't get paid. So they don't get their $50 unless they get a certain quality that almost feels like as if I'm in the house.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I like that. Okay. So you start doing these virtual deals and things like that. What I want to talk about is that lifestyle. A lot of people, and we were just talking about this off air, guys. You get to a point where you're just, cranking it. You're doing so many deals. You're making so much money. But then you're like, man, I've created a big business, but where's my lifestyle at? Like, I feel like I'm not enjoying it. So did you get to that point at all, or did you feel like, man, like I need to step back and reevaluate?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that, and it's it's one of those things like everybody, there's no wrong way.
Right.
There's literally no wrong way, and what might work for me or might work for you might not work for everybody. There's some guys that just love to work every day. There's the freaking Grant Cardones of the world who just like hustle all day. And I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, good for you. Whatever makes you happy. Maybe making more money justifies success for you.
Right.
You want to keep chasing. Hey, like, there's no wrong answer for anybody.
Correct.
Personally, I value my time.
Yeah.
Like I value. Sometimes I don't want to go work. Sometimes I want to go surf all day. Sometimes I want to go read a book and understand, history or something.
Yeah.
Like I choose to live my life the way, like, as long as I have my number set where I can eat good, live good, travel. Mm-hmm. The rest for me is cake. I don't, doesn't define my happiness.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. It's kind of like, you ever read that book, Life in There?
Nah.
Oh man, it's a great book, man. So Life in There book, for those, I'm gonna kind of get just a little bit, but it's about some people chase, I want to be a billionaire, right? I want to be, 100 millionaire.
Yeah. I mean, as long as if it's not for significance.
Exactly.
Then, some people want to do that because it's a milestone, it's accomplishment, it's doing it for them, that's cool. But if you're doing it to be a millionaire, because I know guys, huge guys in the space that are like killing it. Yeah. And they got to make more to make them, other people think they're cool. Yep. Which I think you're cool and you'll ultimately be successful.
Exactly. Yeah, some people get into it, it's just the hustle and bustle of, like you said, just trying to make more to please somebody else that don't even really care about you and all that other stuff. Is like whatever. And I'm I want to make as much money as possible. I'm not saying I'm happy where I'm at all. I'm pretty sure, Adam, you're not the same too. But at the same time, you have gratitude for where you're at. You're grateful where you're at, right? But like this Life in There book is just talking about like how you can set up. You can still be a millionaire. You can set your life up where you can make a lot of money, but you're still living life on your own terms. You have the freedom.
4-hour work week, baby.
Yeah, man. You have the freedom, like, because you just got so many people.
And not that we want to work some week, we want to work 40. And others, I want to work 10,
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
That's it.
So it's just like, I love the book, man. Like I really enjoyed it. And they actually have seminars and stuff about it. It's pretty good. Yeah, so you look it up, Life in There. But anyways, so you get to this point where you're like, okay, well, I want to figure out what other things could I do. And I want to talk about this thing that you have developed, this software, this system, and it's really, guys, when I tell you this is gonna this is gonna blow 10x your business. All right, guys.
That's it.
It might 20x it. It might 100x it. Honestly, I think it'll probably like for some of you, you might be new. So if you're new, then it'll probably 10x. For you guys that's already making money, it'll probably 100,000x your business if you got the lead. Just the marketing cost and you understand how to actually talk and close deals. It's the best marketing tool that I've seen out there in the past 10 years. I would say that. Past 10 years, I would say. I've tried every marketing strategy you can think of. Nothing compares to this. So before we talk about this, what made you even want to say, you know what, I want to change the game on how real estate investors market? Like what was that like idea? Like how did that pop up in your head? Like what came to you to say, you know what, I'm gonna change the world, and this is what and I had this idea, and I'm gonna invest in this, and we're gonna build this out. What was that like for you?
Appreciate that. So it started a couple years ago. I mean, I was sending out like direct mail, sending like yellow letters and like really fancy, the handwritten ones, and really spending time. And it took me all this time to build it. And then I'm like, all right, 30 some cents to send it. It was really expensive. I was already I was still, on a tight budget. and I'd spend all my money, and then I have to wait 3-4 days. I'd spend a couple, $3,000-$4,000 on the campaign, and then I'd wait for the phone to ring, and then somebody would call me and they'd say, "Listen, Adam, I've got 20 pieces of direct mail. Like, I'm really not interested in selling my house." And then a light bulb went off. I was like, why am I spending $3,000 and everybody is doing the same thing?
Yeah.
Everything in my career, Chris, has been doing something different.
Right.
And finding that, going with that, being the water and finding the least path of resistance. I thought to myself, I think I was on my phone, I was like, man, how cool would it be? How cool would it be if you can get a call, better yet, a text message that says the same message? Because everybody has a cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone where, whether you're 15 years old or 90 years old, nowadays everybody has a cell phone.
Yep.
So if you can get a text message that says, hey Mike, hey Bob, hey John, I saw your property at a custom field at 555 Main Street. Would you be interested in selling? That could go out faster. I'm sure it would be a lot cheaper. So I look out on the market just naturally, and I'm thinking, there's got to be something like this.
Yeah, right.
There's no way there's nothing like this on the market. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way. And I found out 3 years ago there's nothing. And then I was like, all right, well, let me just go on Upwork, because I'm Upwork, I do everything on Upwork.
Gotcha.
And I found a developer that helped me build it, and I was just using it myself, and I was closing a lot of deals because nobody was really doing text messaging. I would just send hundreds of sellers a message, and I was picking up some really good deals from it. And then a good friend of mine hit me with the idea. He was like, hey, this is amazing, and you can actually turn this into a product that can help other investors around the country. And that's when I started with the idea of completely transforming it to now what it is today. And it has been such a journey. But the best thing, Chris, is amazing. I mean, we just launched, and I mean, between you and the dozens of people we have on it, the feedback has been absolutely phenomenal. It's like if you're an artist and you just built something for years and years and years, and then people look at your software as something that is extremely valuable. The feedback that we've been getting from the industry has been nothing short of exceptional. So it's been great, and I just love to see people being successful with it.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, listen, it has changed my business. We were already locking up a deal today as we speak from it, and this conversation just took place last Wednesday. Last Wednesday. And the only reason why it took us this long is because my acquisition guy had to do a surgery with his daughter out of town. So that's the only reason why it took a little bit longer, because I had one of my lead managers kind of managing it. But the response rate, man, oh my gosh, man. I sent the blast out, guys, to text messaging. I think I was I want to say it was about 800 people. It was at least 370 people that responded back within the first 30 minutes. It was ridiculous. I was just like, okay, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know it was gonna be this quick.
Response rate.
I was like, yo, and I was getting through people that I had tried ringless voicemails with. I had tried. These people would never responded back.
Wow.
Then they get a text message and they respond back. It's crazy, So I love it because of the fact that the entry to getting into wholesaling at this point, we being into a bull market, it is very challenging in some markets that are competitive for someone to outspend in marketing. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you want to come into Tampa market, you can't come with a $500 a month budget. That's not going to do it, right? Not if you're spending in direct mail.
Unless you get lucky.
Yeah, unless you get lucky. Sometimes you get that one lucky, that one person picks up or something. But it's challenging, you know what I'm saying? If you go into a market like LA or something like that, it's even more challenging. And it's like you got to figure out something that's different, another different way to market to someone to at least just get them to say if they're interested or not.
Gary Vaynerchuk says all the time, we follow attention. So whereas the attention was back in the day was direct mail, then email, the attention now is SMS.
SMS, absolutely. And guys, if you want to get a free 7-day trial of the software and check it out, I do have a link. It is an affiliate link. It's dealsthroughtext.com. All right, I'm putting in the show notes, dealsthroughtext.com. It'll go straight to the software. You can sign up for a free 7-day trial. Now let's talk about.
And on top of that, I'm going to give you guys an additional credit that you can't ever get through my site. So if you go through Chris's site directly, you get an additional credit. You get a couple thousand free messages on us. There's no other way you can get that besides going through dealsthroughtext.com.
Yeah, so make sure you go through that, guys. Dealsthroughtext.com. Again, I'm going to include that link in the show notes of this podcast, dealsthroughtext.com. But let's talk about it. One of the things I love is free 7-day trial, so you guys can check it out. You're going to get those free credits as well. But it is super affordable, man. How did you make it so affordable?
Because I remember when I was starting up, that's what I remember. Yeah, man, because I look at it like, everybody, there's a lot of guys that don't have a big budget,
right?
And I'm trying to make it so that the everyday wholesaler can still afford it.
Gotcha. I love it, man, because, again, one of the things is that, when you get into the marketing costs, you got to go skip trace some leads. First, you got to get some leads. You got to skip trace the leads.
Yeah.
It gets up to you spending, a few $100 to $1,000, just trying to do a campaign and ring his voicemail or whatever the case may be. This guy's here. You can literally get started with just $99, and it's a free 7-day trial. So I mean, you can't beat it, guys. So make sure you go do dealsthroughtext.com. So, I want to talk about a little bit about because you're heavy on personal development. I wanted to bring it up a little bit before, but I want to talk just a little bit about personal development.
Sure.
And mainly I want to ask you, what are some of the top books that you've read that you would recommend? That kind of like just stuck out to you and just...
Books. I haven't been as heavy on the books lately because I'm being fully honest.
Yeah, I'm talking about full scope.
Full career. I mean,
full career.
Number one, my Bible. I mean, you already guessed what my Bible is. 4-Hour Work
Of course.
That's my Bible right there. Read that a couple times over. That's probably the biggest one for me. I mean, honestly, I haven't, put too much.
That's enough.
But that's definitely my number one.
That is enough.
I'm huge on personal development, and I also wanted to thank you, Chris, because one thing that we literally started within the same year. I've seen your transition. I've seen where you're at, and you posted something the other day on Instagram. And one thing that I don't see enough is you, especially as a leader for so many people that you influence. One thing about you, bro, I really appreciate is you're extremely authentic, and you put up something that was like really vulnerable. Maybe you weren't having a great day, but you were being real, and it sets a great example for all the young hustlers out there, or the young people that are still on the way up that can see a true leader, and that doesn't need to be a knight in shining armor all the time, just a real person. So man,
I appreciate it, man. I just it's so much stuff on the internet, and the thing about social media, the good and bad thing is that it's good that it connects all of us, right? The internet, having a software like the dealsthroughtext.com that you can reach people at a much faster rate than you could in the 90s, right? But the bad thing about it is just that some people only want to show you one part of their life. They only want to show you the glitz and the glamour. And what it does is it creates this false, it's like a false, I don't want to say look, but it's just, for some people, it's crazy, but they like see the life that, let's say for us, we travel a lot and things like that. And if they only see that, sometimes it brings depression. I've known people that had to take social media breaks because they're depressed because they see this whole like world. And not necessarily it's false, but it's just only one side.
It's skewed.
And I've saw so many people that I don't understand.
They feel insignificant.
Yeah.
They're comparing like, hey, look at you. You've got a nicer car than me. You have this, but they don't realize all the crap that person's dealing with that they didn't share.
Right.
So for the guys investing in a mentor and somebody that's going to really coach you, It's so important because I've had this happen. I've been let down by so many people that I've trusted in my life that didn't believe in me, just used me for money. So one thing, I can't stress this enough, guys, just if you invest your time in somebody and specifically invest in money with somebody, make sure it's somebody that actually cares about you as a person first. Somebody that actually cares about you and they're authentic and true to themselves, how they treat themselves, how they carry themselves in their authentic nature. And that'll tell you a lot about what they will deliver to you because they actually care about you.
Wow, that's huge, guy. That's a huge gem right there. Because like you said, man, there's, some people are just in it for a buck or whatever, but we don't worry about them. We worry about the ones that, like you said, truly care for you and things like that. So love it. Okay, so any last words for our listeners today? Anything you want to share with them?
So I was trying to think about what I would want to share, with your audience and just like nuggets from my career.
Yeah, because most of the people are new. I'll say most people that are listening, they're new. They might have done a deal or two, but they have big dreams. My listeners have big dreams. They want to get to a level of being able to travel like how we travel and have a nice car. It's like, look, Adam got a very nice car, very nice Mercedes.
Guys, number one, just there's a couple things, but my biggest advice, I've tried to give you a couple bullet points, is number one is be extremely resourceful. There's always a way. So, just the famous quote of just Michael Jordan, if there's a wall in front of me, I'm either going to go over it, I'm going to go around it, or I'm going to go right through it. And that's always been both of our mentalities since the beginning of our career. Yeah. And if you just don't have that, either condition yourself to have that attitude of, I'm going to figure it the fuck out no matter what. Right. Or because that is so huge. Resourcefulness, there's a problem every day in real estate, and it's up to you to solve it.
Absolutely.
So, training resourcefulness. Number two, I see this especially with newer guys with lower budgets, is credit. Credit is king. Credit is so important. It gets you the right terms, and over longevity, over time, differentiates the rich, the wealthy, and the poor. So get all of you today. Do this. Call all your credit card providers. Get them an auto pay.
Yeah.
Like huge. Don't miss a payment because of something stupid you forgot. Get all your credit cards on auto pay. Build your credit score up, and then get the capital that you need to do the next deal.
Yeah.
So that would be huge. Relationships. If you're starting out, you want to go to every RIA meeting. You want to talk to every investor. You want to create friends, and learn from the right people. That would be the final one.
I love it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. What we're gonna do is, again, we have a special for everybody that's listening. All right, Adam's gonna hook you guys up with some additional credits for the Text Blast software. You just got to go through deals-through-text.com. Again, I'm going to include that link in the show notes. I'm also going to include a link to Adam's Instagram. All right, so that way, what is it? Flipping underscore Tampa? Yeah, we're going to include a link to that too, so you can go ahead and reach out to him. If you enjoyed this episode, please, what I want you guys to do is tag me and him in the episode. If you tag us in the story, if you're tuning in, wherever you're at, driving, whether you're at work, whether you're in the gym, all right, tag at Detroit Mogul and at flipping_Tampa in your Instagram story, and we will repost it as we see them come in. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. You know my quote, don't live the dream, live your dream. I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Escaping the REI Newbie Zone podcast at www.escapethenewbiezone.com.